On his site, he stated, in a quite professional way, "Working with UK distributors, importers, and producers to source quality, we run a tight ship and aim to get your order out the same or next day. This tight ship also refers to our attitude to you and your privacy. We've been doing this for a long time." It seems that ordering drugs on the dark web in Britain really took off a few years ago. There are also lots of recent news reports stating that seizures of ecstasy and amphetamines in the post has increased dramatically, with the drugs mostly coming from the Netherlands after being ordered on the dark web. The Guardian wrote this in 2019. Criminal organizations in the Netherlands are major producers and exporters of synthetic drugs, exported via sea containers or trucks. But there is said to have been a growth in online purchases in which the postal services are exploited. The US, Australia, and New Zealand are the main recipients outside of Europe. The same article said that a sting operation led
Of course the US getting all these drugs.
police to a massive 300 kilograms of drugs and 51 firearms. That same year, a dark web website called the Wall Street Market (WSM) was shut down in Germany and arrests were made. The owners were making big bucks selling heroin, cocaine, weed, and speed, as well as malicious software, counterfeit documents, and stolen data. It worked in 6 languages: English, French, German, Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish. At the time, prosecutors wrote, WSM operated like a conventional e-commerce website, such as eBay or Amazon. However, its sole existence was geared to the trafficking of contraband. As you probably know, the money to be made selling drugs is just so good that arresting dealers or traffickers is like playing a game of whack-a-mole. You put one in prison and another pops up. The war on drugs has been nothing but a failure for the most part, with the authorities looking like Sisyphus.
Bro, I feel like this is like such an ongoing thing. It's just never gonna stop, bro. There's always gonna be another drug deal, another drug deal, another drug deal.
Push a round rock up a hill for all eternity. This means 2 things. One thing is that you can be assured that despite these arrests, you can still go on the dark web right now and order pretty much any drug you want. But it also means that you can be assured that some men with badges will be trying to put you in prison for it. This is why it's dangerous. You might think you can get away with it seeing as you have anonymity, but you actually don't. The FBI and other law enforcement entities are all over the dark web. This is the problem with the dark web. You can get eaten by spiders. When people think they have impunity, they can get careless. That's what happened recently when 150 people were arrested in an operation called Dark Hunter. Law enforcement from Europe, the US, and Australia were involved, and about $25 million worth of drugs were taken. In this case, no small-time buyers were arrested, just the sellers, but cops warned about something else. Many of the drugs these days contain the killer substance fentanyl. This stuff works well in hospitals for pain relief and might sound good to a hardcore opiate addict, but the truth is there have been a startling number of news reports, including ones involving famous people, of folks thinking they're taking a drug like cocaine and dying because the white powder also had fentanyl in it. As we
fentanyl is literally like the most deadly thing in the world, Dad. I don't even know drugs like that, but I just heard so many stories about fentanyl. It's crazy.
Right, this 5 people died all at once of an accidental overdose in the US when they didn't know that their powder contained the drug. But doing a quick search, we could have chosen numerous stories that included the words accidental fentanyl overdose. We don't condone drug use here, but if a person is intent on taking drugs, then the safest thing would be to know what you are taking. When you order from the dark web, you really don't know what you're getting, and since everything is anonymous, the seller might not care too much about what they're giving you. Even if you die, there is very little chance that they'll ever be arrested.
Bro, they're not gonna have any trace back to them if you actually die, bro. Like, what are you gonna do? Your family's not gonna be able to sue them or nothing because you went on the dark web.
Found a story containing the words fentanyl-laced ecstasy tablets. Rave to the grave might be the suitable expression here. Unfortunately, while it could save tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of lives, the authorities for the most part have always been dead set against providing folks with easily available drug testing equipment. On top of this, sometimes the buyers do get arrested. There was a story in 2020 that stated 179 people were arrested in a massive bust involving multiple drugs and guns, and some of those arrested were buyers. Most were in the US, others in the UK.
Man, you could get arrested for buying?
Germany and Sweden, the Netherlands and Austria.
I mean, it is legal,
At the time,
I'm sure.
the authorities claimed that the golden age of the dark web marketplace is over. But they've been claiming to be winning the war on drugs since people watched black and white television. Nonetheless, Europol had a warning for prospective buyers and sellers saying the hidden internet is no longer hidden, and your anonymous activity is not anonymous. Law enforcement is committed to tracking down criminals no matter where they operate, be it on the streets or behind a computer screen. They've even been arresting small-time dealers, as can be seen in one story involving a Florida man. Using the name Duck Candy Man, his line of work was
Duck Candy Man is a crazy name, bro.
Mostly the distribution of cocaine. He would send the stuff right to your house via the mail, and guess what? Once he was arrested, the cops also knew where he'd been sending the stuff. We'll add one more thing here. Some people on the dark web might be pretending to sell drugs, but all they're after is your personal information. They're looking to
Yeah, that's another thing, bro. Like, getting on dark web, I feel like you're just so susceptible to getting hacked or getting your personal information stolen, bro.
exploit that information, and as you'll soon see, sometimes they can blackmail you. Mostly though, they're phishing in order to get their hands on your money. You can buy phishing kits on the dark web, but you can also be phished. Okay, so maybe drugs aren't your thing. Maybe you're not really into anything illegal, but you do have a very curious mind. When someone told you they had a video of a man being cut up with a chainsaw, you just had to watch it. Freak.
Bro, honestly, like, people like this scare me, chat. Like, people that like want to see gore and stuff, or, you know, bad things happen to people, those type of people, you have to watch out for them, bro. Like, there's something weird in their mind, bro. Like, there's no normal human being that just like, oh yeah, let me just see some people die today. Like, that's just so fun. Like, no. No, you need to.
Unfortunately, gore sites are all over the open internet, and while it's technically not illegal to post videos of such things as someone being stoned to death, beheaded, or perhaps eating a great big dish of steaming poop, sometimes what you see will forever scar that mind of yours. Unless, of course, you are either desensitized to that kind of thing, or a bit on the weird side. That makes up a lot of society, actually. Since just one site back in the day called Best Gore was getting in the region of 10 to
10 to 20 million crazy psycho people, bro.
20 million hits a
Nah.
month. The owner of Best Gore was eventually arrested after posting the video called One Lunatic, One Ice Pick, which consisted of an eternally unstable maniac named Luca Magnotta dismembering a guy, then sending some of the body parts to schools and political offices. Obviously, that was a very serious crime, and Magnotta is now in prison where he belongs. If you know the story, you'll know that before he was arrested, animal activists were also hot on his tail because some of the videos consisted of him doing very bad things to kittens.
Oh my God.
So maybe one day you get on the
That's all I'm saying, bro. A whole bunch of people just want to go to a website and see shit like this, bro. There's something wrong with them, chat.
dark web and end up seeing something you wish you hadn't. Although we guess right now some of you are thinking that infographic show writers are just big wusses. Maybe gore is nothing to you. According to the Washington Post, much of the worst gore talked about that is supposedly available on the dark web is just that, talk. You might have heard that you can watch a movie that stars a person being murdered, aka a snuff movie, but they may not actually exist. Some of them are set up and no one dies. Or the rumors about certain films are just rumors. Still, videos of accidental deaths or executions do exist, and it's not illegal for you to watch them. As one writer pointed out, it's illegal to murder somebody, it's illegal to watch somebody get murdered and not report it, but it's not illegal to watch an online snuff film, at least not at the moment. You wouldn't, for instance, have been in trouble if you watched a video that surfaced on the web made by the so-called Dnipropetrovsk maniacs. These two Ukrainian teenagers brutally murdered 21 people in 2007, and they filmed a lot of the violence. For a time, you might have been able to see some of that on gore sites, but not anymore. Still, as we speak, people are going to the dark web to watch similar stuff. One journalist went there to check out such gore, later writing that there is a danger in becoming desensitized to it. He said in an
That's
article,
what I'm saying. Becoming desensitized to stuff like this is so bad, bro. And it's all thanks to the dark web and stuff.
I could make you physically sick in minutes by showing you the stuff now. But the second or third or fourth time you see it, you get desensitized to it all. It happens to a lot of people. It creates a lack of empathy in people, and the more you watch, the worse it gets. We don't need to tell you that this isn't good for your mental well-being, but this guy said people get addicted to it. He added, I don't know what drives people to it, it's just pure evil. Why does someone want to watch that? The uncomfortable truth is there's a lot of evil out there. Then you could be down one of those bloody rabbit holes and really see something you wish you hadn't. In the content of a sexual nature that is very much illegal, your curiosity could possibly take you there. In 2019, BBC reported that 337
BBC?
people were arrested in 38 countries because they were
news.
involved in such content. Of the users, the police said they are not as cloaked as they think they are. They're not as safe as they think they are. You never know if you're being watched when you're on the dark web. There was a recent case
What is this guy doing? I want to kill my wife. Like, what?
of a guy in the US that talked on a web forum in the dark web about killing his wife. He asked other people for advice on how he might do it. He wrote, I aim to ensure my wife's death within 18 months, ideally
What?
long after our divorce is finalized, about 6 to 8 months from now. This is the only way I can begin a new life with
Bro, this is crazy, bro. This is definitely the dark web, but low-key, chat, Reddit is another thing to where Reddit could be used for a lot of good things, but it's also a place for like stupid people like this, dude.
full custody of my child. After some discussion, he came up with poison, which he said might be put in her coffee, wiped on a door handle, or just slipped on her feet while she was asleep. He then tried to buy what the authorities call a chemical weapon.
Oh
They
my
later explained to the
God.
media that it was a colorless, volatile, flammable, and highly toxic liquid that can be easily absorbed through the skin and might produce life-threatening systemic effects with only a